Hello, everyone. So fantastic to be here. Thank you for having me. The last session was actually quite inspiring for me because I'm an Australian living in Hong Kong, and I've been here for 10 years. Upon arrival in Hong Kong, I actually founded the organization that I'm going to talk a little bit to you about today, and discuss the touring strategies that have actually become a very strong part of our identity as a music ensemble. This is our group as it stands today. This was a concert we did last year. Our makeup is basically a sinfonietta format. We have 15 core members, and we are a flexible music ensemble. Sometimes our concerts involve 2 musicians. Sometimes they involve 30, but generally we work in a medium-sized music ensemble format. We promote the work of living composers primarily. And actually it was fantastic to see the trailer for Angel's Bone, which we're actually involved in for the New Vision Arts Festival. We're the resident ensemble for that production. So you've seen the trailer for that opera production already. So please do come tomorrow. It will be an extremely exciting production. So we work with living composers. We're also dedicated a lot to researching and developing these international collaborations with festivals, venues, and engaging with primarily as being a regional contemporary music ensemble for Greater Asia. In terms of our touring, since I'm discussing touring strategy today, here is a list of the tours that we have undertaken in the past 10 years. As you can see, almost every year we go somewhere, mostly within Asia, but in the past several years it's been very much focused on Europe. We actually started off we were founded in 2008, and actually we started straight away with a tour to Guangzhou, collaborating with the Guangdong Modern Dance Company. Actually, and this is also a very strong part of our identity, collaborating with other art forms, artists, dance companies in theater, in contemporary dance. And in the first year, we also toured to the Shanghai Conservatory of Music. Even before we'd done one performance in Hong Kong, we had an invitation to perform overseas. So as you can read, in 2011, we went to Australia, collaborating with the Hong Kong artist Samson Young, presenting an installation at the Mona Foma Festival in Hobart, which is an amazing venue. I'll just pull up a couple of highlights there. Of course, we've been to Tongyong several times, and we're very grateful to always to work closely with the Tongyong International Music Festival. The first time was in 2016. Last year was incredibly exciting because it was the 20th anniversary of the handover of Hong Kong. So actually there was a lot of funding for touring overseas. So actually we did a big Europe tour to the UK, to Portugal, to Spain, and also to Reykjavik in Iceland. I'll discuss a little bit about that Iceland collaboration a little bit later as well. And this year was a very important year. It was the end of our 10th anniversary, and we also took 30 musicians to the Shanghai Conservatory again, which was 10 years after we'd visited previously. And we also just got back from Seoul, which was fantastic. Here are some pictures from some of these collaborations. Maybe I'll just explain a little bit. It sort of puts it a little bit in perspective, sort of working from left to right, going down. The top is actually when we were on tour in Spain last summer. The conductor you can see there is actually the assistant conductor of the Berlin Philharmonic now, a young German conductor, and we were collaborating with some young musicians from Europe. Then Australia tour, the picture in the far right top is when we toured to Prague in the Czech Republic, where we combined a tour with a CD recording when we were basically performing, doing a live CD recording. This one here is where we actually performed outdoors in front of Angkor Wat in Cambodia when we were invited by a Cambodian composer to be part of a collaborative performance with dancers, with traditional Cambodian singers, and we were sort of the resident contemporary music group performing works by living Cambodian composers. And there are other pictures there, but and upcoming we're touring to Vietnam, Korea, Taiwan, the USA, and Australia next year, as well as Thailand, and also preparing for a big Europe tour in 2020. So and actually these collaborations are a very, very strong part of our identity as a group. They allow us to collaborate with overseas composers, with other arts organizations, venues, festivals. Extremely, extremely important. Now, since the discussion today is more about touring strategy, I just thought to introduce a little bit about how I approach this as kind of as a creative producer and artistic director of the group. Actually, Duyun was mentioned by Beth Morrison, and actually her festival in New York City has invited us next year. This collaboration came about by co-commissioning a work by a New York composer, Eric Wubbles, that we performed last year. So actually it was a co-commission between the Hong Kong New Music Ensemble and the Marta Festival in New York City. That was performed here at APA. And as a result of that collaboration, we have been invited to the Marta Festival for next year. This is the venue, which is, it actually looks a lot more decent inside. It's called The Kitchen. It's a very important venue for contemporary art and contemporary music theater in Chelsea. In New York City, works like Steve Reich's Music for 18 Musicians were premiered there, for instance. And this was a festival actually founded by Philip Glass back decades ago. So this is an example of, through co-commissioning how we engage and how we strategize our touring. Another example, I thought I'd give a couple of examples of how we work with developing new productions for touring. This is one example that's actually ongoing between a group in Germany, a venue in Germany, and a concert designer by the name of Volkert Ude, who's actually the founder of the venue Radiosystem in Berlin. This collaboration came about through inviting this German group, Ensemble Resonanz, they're the resident group of resident ensemble of the Elbphilharmonie in Hamburg. So we invited them to Hong Kong in 2014 to hold workshops, and this sort of initiated the artistic discussions about this new project. Then in 2017, just last year, we invited the concert designer, Volkert Ude, to come to Hong Kong to work with our students, with our ensemble, in a collaborative format. He's a very interesting designer who looks at classical music and conceptualizes different stagings and different ways to experience a concert performance. So next year, actually, we're working with two composers, one from Germany, one from Hong Kong. We have different workshops in Hong Kong to develop this work over the course of 18 months. So we have a big grant from the Hong Kong government to do this, to invite different partners to Hong Kong. And so this will be conceived as a production we take on tour to Europe in 2020, and also present the result of this collaboration also in Hong Kong in 2020, as well as various workshopping stages. So that's just a little summary of how we conceive new productions. In this case, it's happening over the course of 6 years. Another very interesting collaboration is one we've developed over the past few years with the Cycle Festival of Music and Art in Iceland. I commenced by having meetings in Reykjavik. This is the new Hkaaa concert hall. And I met with the partners there in Reykjavik in January 2016. I took a couple of composers from Hong Kong to sort of spur some creative discussions. And then we went back. We actually, this is from some creative workshops in Hong Kong last year. So actually we got a grant to invite 4 artists from Iceland to come and work with our team of musicians, as well as around 10 students. So we actually invited some students from art institutions in Hong Kong, from also the Academy for Performing Arts here, to work with us to develop new creative proposals based on the intersection of visual arts and music. So as a result of this, we actually toured to Iceland just last year as well. So we took about 12 musicians to Iceland and presented quite a nice series of works with our 4 Icelandic collaborators. And as a result of that, we're also preparing for a kind of fringe festival in Hong Kong next year. It'll be very small, but based on sort of very interesting creative projects that have grown from this sort of 3-year artistic process in engaging with artists from both visual arts and from music. So my time is up. So if you would like to read a little more about what we do, our website is there, and thank you for listening to me. Thank you.